In this video, we'll look at the operations of addition, subtraction, and multiplication on polynomials. So here's our first example. Let's add these two polynomials. Because addition is associative, we can remove the parentheses. Now we look to combine like terms. There is some x cubed material, but there is no other x cubed stuff. There is some x squared and no other x squared. There is some x, and there are some constants. So I'm going to show those regrouped. So what I've done is just reordered the way that we're adding things. There's the 5x cubed, there's the plus 2x squared, there's the plus x, there's the minus 9x, there's the minus 9, and there's the minus 7. So we can't combine anything here, can't combine anything here. These two will become a negative 8x, and this will become a negative 16. And there we have it. Next example. Now the operation on the two polynomials is subtraction. I'm going to change that to an addition problem in the following way. The thing I want you to note here is that subtracting something is the same as adding a minus 1 times that something. So it's this minus 1 that we're going to distribute through this parentheses. So the thing I'm looking to observe here is that this minus sign makes this a negative 4x squared, makes this a positive 9x, and it makes this a negative 9. So now when we remove these parentheses, we get this result. There's the negative x squared, the plus 8x minus the 4, and this plus a negative 4x squared is of course a minus 4x squared plus 9x plus 9. In other words, this minus sign distributes through that parentheses. Now let's rearrange so that we can add like terms. So there's the x squared stuff. That's going to make a negative 5x squared. There's the x stuff, the 8x and the 9x. That's going to be 17x and a minus 13. So there we have it. The subtraction of these two polynomials gives us a negative 5x squared plus 17x minus 13. Now this is an interesting problem because we've got two binomials here that are multiplied together, and then we want to subtract this. We need to follow the order of operations. So working from the left to the right, we need to do this multiplication first and then do this subtraction. Now you need to be sure that you know how to multiply two binomials together, but notice that'll be an r squared plus minus a 5r minus an 8r will give the 13r, and minus 8 times a minus 5 is a positive 40. Now we need to worry about this negative sign again. Remember that that negative will distribute through this polynomial. So taking the parentheses off leaves us with the r squared minus 13r plus 40 minus 3r minus 6r squared plus 9. Let's regroup so that we can add like terms. So there we are regrouped. We'll be able to add the r squareds, the r's, and the constant terms. Leaving with the final result, r minus 5r squared minus 16r plus 49. Here's a simple multiplication of a binomial and a trinomial. Remember that whenever we're multiplying two polynomials together, each term in one polynomial has to multiply each term in the other polynomial. Put this line in just for emphasis. Notice that we've got x times 5x squared, x times 3x, and x times a negative 2, and then we've got 3 times the 5x, 3 times the 3x, and 3 times the negative 2. Now let's clean up these multiplications. So look at the details there and make sure I haven't made any mistakes. There's a 5x cubed, there's a 3x squared, there's a minus 2x, there's a plus 15x squared, there's a 9x, and there's a negative 6. Now let's regroup so that we can combine like terms, or rearrange so that we can combine like terms. So there's the 5x cubed, there's the 3x squared, there's the 15x squared, minus 2x, the 9 plus 9x, and the 6. So combining like terms. So there we are combining the like terms. There's no other x cubed, so I've got 5x cubed. There are some x squareds, that's 18x squared. Combining the x's, there's positive 7x minus 6. Okay, that finishes that one. And here's our final example in this video, is to raise a polynomial, in this case a binomial, to a second power. Remember that raising to the second power is really just a multiplication problem. It just means that x minus 9 times x minus 9, and we know how to multiply polynomials. Every term in this polynomial has to multiply every term in that polynomial. So we'll have the x times x, that's just going to become an x squared. The minus 9 times x will be a minus 9x. The minus 9 times x will be another minus 9x, and the minus 9 times 9 is the 81. So every term here has to multiply every term there. So we get our final result, x squared minus 18x plus 81. You might want to watch the other videos in this series